creating a CRUD Todo application using plain vanilla JavaScript. So what I've done here is created two files, first one being index.html, second one being app.js. So now if I open it with live server, which is going to be having this h1 element that have been added here. So to get started, each to-do application has an input field in it. So we're just going to be adding an input field, which is going to be giving it an ID of user input, and a button element, which is going to be having the add to do inside it, and this will be having a ID of btn. So save it, we're going to be having this thing. So each time a user writes something inside this and clicks on the add to do button, the to do item should be added here. So to host our to dos, we will be creating a div element. It can be a li tag too, but I'm just using it here, gonna giving it a ID of list. Now we are not adding anything inside this at the moment because we will be creating it dynamically with the help of JavaScript. The first thing that I'm creating is going to be query selecting all these three elements that we have defined here. The first one being the input, so I'm just going to be doing constant put document dot query selector. Since this is an ID, we're going to be using the hash user input, and just like that. So we're going to be repeating the same process for all the next element being the button. So btn, the next one being the list, and so now we have hooked all our three elements here. We're going to be adding the functionality of add to do. So we're going to be adding a add event listener to the button tag. So first parameter would be the click event, so it will be a click if we want a click event here, and the second parameter would be the function. So I'm creating an arrow function here. So for now, let's just console.log the value that is inside the input element. So input dot value. So now if I save it and open my Chrome console and type something such as to do and click on add, you can see that it's being printed out here. So our JavaScript is working fine. So each to do item that we create would be having a unique class name to it, so that we can identify for the functionality of update and deletion. So each to do item that will be pushed inside the list will be having three elements. The first one being the value of course, and the second one being the update button and the delete button. So first I'm going to be doing is going to be creating a div element which will be called as to do item. So let to do item is going to be equal to document dot create element. It's going to be a div, and each to do item will be having a unique class name. So let's give it a class name of to do, and the second value would be the value of ID. So we are using ID here that we haven't defined it, so we'll do it now. So to do ID, which it will initially have a value of 1, but as soon as we add our values here, it's going to be incrementing. So yeah, just like that. Now the second element we will be having is the to do value. This is going to be a p tag, so it's going to be pretty easy, just like we created. Oops, p tag. And now let's add the p tag to do val. It's going to be having the value of input dot value. Now that we created this, now let's check if it's working. For now, we'll add the rest of two elements later. So to item dot append, and we're going to be pushing this value inside this thing. So to do val, and this to do item needs to be pushed inside the list, so we're going to be doing list dot append and the to do item that we have here. So now if I do hello and add it, it's going to be added. So if I add another one, it's going to be added. Now if I do go to elements and check if so the first to do that if we have here has a class of to do 1, the second one being to do 2. So if I add another one, it will have the class of to do -3. So now that we have done this, now we will add our last two buttons, which are the first one being the update button. So we're going to be doing this thing, document dot create element, and it's just going to be creating a button element, defining it here to do up, and let's give it an inner HTML of update. So this will be also having a unique so just like last time, we're going to be giving it a to do ID too. So to do ID. Now the last one being the delete button. So to do del document dot query element and creating the delete one. So it's going to be a button too, and to do del dot inner HTML, it's going to be having this delete thing. Even this button will be having a class, unique class name. So you're going to be giving it name of like first of all to do ID, and you're going to be doing del, just like that. So now that we have created two elements here, we need to push it too. So first one being to do up, the first one being to do del. So yeah, now if I do nice add, then we can add it here, one added here, go to our element section. Inside each to do, we can see that there's a p tag, there's a button with the class of up one, delete one. The second one we have the same thing. So now we have added the first two functionality, which is the create and read one. Now we have to add the update and the delete one. So we're going to be adding a event listener here, this thing. So when a user clicks on any area inside the list, we're going to be having like it's, let's see, like I will explain you in this way. So we need the information of where this was clicked inside the list element, the parent big element where all of our to-dos are being hosted. So I'm just going to be passing the event parameter here. Now if I actually console.log the event, and if I click, like if I add something sub, if I click here, it's going to giving me a whole bunch of information of where this click event was happened, which element was it targeted to, and all that stuff. So this is a really nice feature. So if I do like console.log e dot target dot class name, so we're going to be let's add something, hello and world. So if I click on this thing, it's not gonna giving me anything because we are clicking on the p tag and it doesn't have any class name. But if I click on the update button, it's gonna giving me this class name of this element here. If I click on this one, so it's gonna make it being delete and the 2, that is the class name of it. So now since we know that we will be getting class name of this element, now if a user clicks on this update, this thing, it knows that we'll be able to identify that it's clicking the update button and it's clicking the update button of the to-do item with the ID of 1. So what we're doing is we're going to be having a if else logic here. So if the class name has the like update, so you have to check if the update button was clicked or the delete button. So we know that if the update button was clicked, the first two letters would be up. So what we will do is slice it. So slice takes two arguments here, the first being the starting number, second one being the ending number, but it's excluded, so we're going to be in 0 2. So if it's equal to up, it's going to be, let's console.log that update, so that we can just be sure that our code is actually working before hooking the functionality. Now we're going to be adding another one. Another case is that the same thing, but if it's a delete one. So now since delete is a 3-letter word, we're going to be adding 0 and 3 here, and if it's equal to delete, we're just going to be console.logging for now, like delete. Let's check if this works. It's going to be adding sub like, and If I click on update, it's going to give me update, but if I click on delete, it's going to give me delete. But if I click anywhere around, it's not going to give me any console.log because we have only added an if else logic to this thing. So now that we know that our functionality is being working, we're just going to be removing this element. First we'll be adding the remove thing. So there's an interesting thing that is here. So this button is being enclosed inside the to do item. Let's see in this thing. So if we click on this button here, we will be getting the value of this class name, but we have to remove this entire to do one div. So what we're going to be doing, accessing the parent element property. So if I actually do e.target.parent element and go to a console, let's just add a random one. And if I click on delete here, it's going to give me the parent element div. So if I click on this one, it's going to give me to do 2. So now what I will do is just remove this entire element because we are deleting it anyway. So now since we have this thing, the value of the this parent element, we can actually get the class name of this thing. So if I actually do add another one class, click on delete, it's going to give me the value of this div element. So what we can do is we can query select that thing. So actually if we something like that, since we get this value, and you're going to be using dot because we are accessing that element here, and we can just remove it. Now this should hopefully work. Like, let's see. If it doesn't, we will debug it. If I click on delete, it's gonna get deleted, which is fantastic. So we have added another functionality, which is the deleting one. The last one being the update one. So let's just check how we can update it. So now let's add another to-dos sub. This is the boring part here, but how we will be doing the update functionality is like if I add some text here like change, and if the user clicks update on this button, it's gonna check this text here. So we are not adding another input element inside each to do item because it doesn't make that much sense, and I think that this method is pretty decent one, so it works. So if I click update here, it's gonna change the value of add to change whatever it's written here. So how we will be doing this is, first of all, we gotta document.query select that element, that p tag here. We have actually not added that thing inside this p tag. So what we'll be doing is to do val dot class list dot add. So now val we'll be doing is val and the to do id. Oops, my typing is like really bad. I need to improve it, but yeah, that. Now we have added another class to this thing. So first thing, let's just console.log. Let's get the ID first of all, because we need ID to understand to get which element we have to change it. So e.target dot parent element. Okay, so let's add this is the boring part again, sub. Okay, so if I click on update, it's gonna give me the parent element, which is this one. So now we know that our to get the ID, we have to access like the 4th, 5th, 6th element here. So we're just gonna be getting the 6th element dot class name. Oh my god, so Mac is actually dying. So before that, let's just try to complete this application. Class name, add update, so it's gonna give me class name here. Okay, so the 5th element, which is this one, add update, it's okay. So we got it. So we got this thing here. So we're gonna be query selecting document dot query selector. Okay, so we're gonna be accessing this thing. So we're just gonna copying this quickly because getting it. And now since we got that element, and we're going to be changing the inner HTML of it, val, okay, so inner HTML to the input dot value. Perfect. So now if I add, nice. So now if I write change and update, it's gonna changing, it's gonna delete, add. Perfect. So this works really nice, and I think that we have created a CRUD Todo application. And thank you for watching this video. Hope you like it, and Mag didn't die, so that's fantastic. Thank you for watching, and let me know if you have some better way to do this.